For decades, the perfect humanoid robot was a dream of science fiction, an engineering impossibility. Companies like Honda and Boston Dynamics could demonstrate a cautious walk or a backflip, but these were controlled stunts and demonstrations, and they never moved the needle for commerce or our daily lives. A lot of the world's physical labor, which is messy and unpredictable, remains stubbornly human. Then, in 2022, a new company emerged, Figure AI. Their thesis was simple but audacious. They were going to create the first commercially viable general-purpose humanoid robot. They didn't want to make just a flashy toy, they wanted to make something that would integrate into daily human lives. They wanted a machine that could truly integrate into human infrastructure and replace human labor, making production facility jobs optional. The company called the attention of some of the most powerful people in technology and the world. They just raised a $1 billion Series C, valuing them at $39 billion. The investor list features a host of household names, including Microsoft, OpenAI, NVIDIA, and even Jeff Bezos himself. They weren't just investing, they were endorsing where they think the world's going. Tesla and a few other companies are also trying to create humanoid robots, and the race is heating up. And the message is pretty clear at this point. Humanoid robots are inevitable. But truly, how close are they to being integrated into our daily lives? In this video, we're going to try to look past the hype, and we're going to rigorously investigate Figure to see if they can justify their valuation and their claims. Claim 1. The first thing we're going to cover is the BMW partnership. Figure's first major product validation came in 2024 when they announced a year-long partnership with BMW. The narrative was Figure was actually going to deploy their robots on the BMW production line in South Carolina. The founder, Brett Adcock, posted on LinkedIn that they had a fleet of robots performing end-to-end operations. This language suggests they had dozens of robots performing all kinds of things along the assembly line. However, when reporters pushed BMW on the specifics, reality was a little more constrained. The deployment only involved a single humanoid robot performing one single simple task. All it was doing was moving one piece of light sheet metal onto some fixtures, and the tests were being performed off hours away from normal production schedule. Furthermore, the task itself of picking up a piece of sheet metal and putting it on some fixtures is the bread and butter of a stationary robotic arm, a standard piece of machinery that's been around forever and can be found in factories all across the world. The current BMW deployment is a limited proof of concept, and not the industrial revolution that's advertised. The next major breakthrough was the announcement of Helix. Helix is Figure's in-house system that allows its robots to perceive and reason like a human. It allows it to work in unstructured environments and respond to human language commands. To demonstrate Helix, Figure released a video in July 2025 showing their robot sorting laundry. The founder stated on camera that the robot was in his actual house, the Adcock house, and that it was running Helix AI and acting autonomously. I mean, if this was real, this was a giant breakthrough. A general-purpose robot operating in a messy and variable environment like a real family home. However, a few months later, Figure released their new robot, Figure 03. And in their launch video, they showed it demonstrating a similar task in their home testing facility in Northern California. Unfortunately for them, some viewers noticed a problem. The flaws in the washing machine were exactly the same as in the video that Brett Adcock had posted in July, in the video that he'd claimed was his own house. Now, there is something I would like to caveat here. It technically could be his house, he just doesn't live in it full time. He might own the home and be leasing it to the company or something strange like that. Nevertheless, the biggest problem is that in a test facility, the robot's actions can be pre-programmed and hard-coded. So it's hard to tell if it's truly acting autonomously. The robot doesn't need true general intelligence because it's simply just doing choreographed movements. While the physical movements are a technical feat in itself, misleading the public about the testing environment fundamentally changes the claims made about the robot's autonomy. Now, here's where it gets weird. There seems to be a pattern with the founder's old companies as well. Brett Adcock first made his fortune with a recruiting company that he sold for $100 million. Nothing suspect at all there, but he then went on and found Archer Aviation, a company focused on electric air taxis. Similar to Figure, Archer Aviation was heavily criticized for alleged stage and misleading demos. They were accused of hyping deliveries without ever actually delivering a working product, and their product isn't capable of full transition flight, which they originally aimed to build. Adcock, of course, eventually stepped down from being co-CEO of Archer Aviation and then went on to found Figure. So to be clear, he's no longer actively involved in the company, but he did have a lot to do with the beginning of it. When you look at all this stuff, there seems to be a clear pattern that emerges. He clearly has exceptional vision and engineering progress, but coupled with a state of overselling the product in its current state. The immediate reality of Figure today is not a fleet of robots robots taking people's jobs in a production facility in South Carolina, but it's one robot doing a simple limited test and highly controlled demonstrations in a testing facility disguised as a home. So why is it worth $39 billion? Well, it's absolutely not based on what the company has delivered to date, but instead on the unquestionable world-changing potential that Figure AI represents. It's easy to only look at the negatives, but Figure AI has really achieved very difficult feats of engineering. Achieving stable, dynamic bipedal movements in a very short timeline is not easy at all, and the potential of the company is immense. A robot that could truly handle any task that a human would in a factory would solve global labor shortages and transform manufacturing efficiency, making things a lot cheaper for people, which in theory could make the majority of goods a lot cheaper. And then obviously if you had a humanoid robot in your house that could do your dishes and do your laundry, it would free up tons of time to do the things that you actually want to do. I personally would be ordering one right away if I could afford it. Whoever creates a real commercially viable general purpose humanoid robot will be worth trillions. So if you look at it in that lens, the company still has a huge way to go. However, it's undeniable that its current marketing material is a little premature and definitely aimed at increasing investor enthusiasm and FOMO. It's not if this robot will be created, it's when it will be created and who's going to make it. Once Figure or a competitor like Tesla is able to cross the bridge from pre-programmed puppet to fully autonomous robot, the economic and social revolution will be vast, for good or for bad. It's impossible to predict if it'll end up being a net positive or a net negative, but my money's on the net positive side. Figure AI is a company with real amazing technological breakthroughs, but is definitely selling tomorrow's products instead of today's. Are there issues with that? Absolutely. Should we still be excited for the future to see what they can create? I would also say absolutely. The race to create a humanoid robot is well underway, but Figure AI's $39 billion valuation is based on the promise, not the current product.